Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to take a quick detour from our normal travel videos because one of the biggest travel destinations in the United States has been hit with a large earthquake. New York City and the area surrounding it have been hit by a 4.9 magnitude earthquake. The news outlets are all reporting it, and the USGS is your go-to website for more information about this. Right now, if you look at their latest earthquake maps, you're going to see that there are very few in the U.S. There are a bunch up in Alaska, but in the continental U.S., two in California and the one in New Jersey. It's actually Califon, New Jersey. If we want to look at that on Google Maps, you can see it's about halfway from New York City to Allentown, so quite a bit north of Philadelphia, and I'm guessing it's 40 or 50. We can do a real quick measured distance. As the crow flies, it is 43 miles. So 43 miles as the crow flies. And the interesting thing about the earthquake, and initial reports are that everybody's fine, which is the most important thing. But a 4.8, they're saying a 4.8 here is the depth. The depth was only 4.7 kilometers below the surface. And you think, wow, that's 3 miles. That's pretty far down. But by earthquake standards, it is not. It's actually quite close to the surface. And if you look, there are a bunch of other earthquakes around the world in the last day. So this map is 2.5 magnitude earthquakes in the last day, 45 events, all of them 2.5 or better. What you're seeing, Taiwan here has one, I guess, that just happened in the last hour or two, and these are aftershocks from the major earthquake that they have had just a few days ago, where unfortunately there were several people who lost their lives and hundreds injured. Taiwan is, of course, well engineered to handle these events, and that's why, thankfully, so few people were killed. But you can see their aftershocks are 4.9, and this New York earthquake was 4.8, but look at the depth. The depth is 17.1 kilometers on that aftershock in Taiwan, or one out in Fiji here in the South Pacific, and that is 569 kilometers, 300 miles below the surface. The one in India, 10K down, another one in the islands, 222 kilometers down. The ones in California, they're having negative. I don't know what it is. I'm going to have to look that up. So I don't know if that's like a surface, like up in the hills kind of quake, or something along the San Andreas Fault. Never seen negative depth. So I will look that up and figure out what that is. Here's another Taiwan aftershock at 20K below. So you get the idea. A couple in Iran, 4.4s back to back, 3 of them actually. And they're all at about 10K depth. The one in Alaska was actually fairly shallow too. But back to the one in New Jersey, New York area today, 4.8 at a depth of 4.7 kilometers. So again, 3 miles down. Now, the history of New York, seismicity in New York, if you look at Wikipedia, there's a good article, and I'll put that in the link down below. It's a fairly rare thing. Now, if you look at this first map up here, so these are all earthquakes over the past 250 years that were, I think, magnitude 3 or greater. So several dozen. If you look from 1975 here to 2010, we can count 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in the last 45 years. So basically every 5 years. And the other earthquakes in the past were never really any bigger. They say that these old ones in the late 1700s were about magnitude 5. Of course, they didn't have quite the same measurement opportunities back then, and I think the one, what are they saying, 2000, there's something here saying that one of the other more recent ones, the Sandy Hook one, in the late 1800s, 1884 here. You can see it on the map here. That one apparently was a 5. So it's rare. It's rare that they're this large. There are probably dozens of other earthquakes in the area that are lower. I think if we go back to here, there's a filter page, and you can probably look that up and see other ones that might be smaller. But of course, generally anything under a 3, you may not even feel. So I think back to the wiki article, the thing to really focus on is why are they happening? Because there is a fault line, and it's called the Ramapo fault line here. And if you look at this image, actually a couple. So there's the Ramapo fault, the Hopewell fault, Flemington Furlong fault, and the Chalfont fault, and they all run through this area of the eastern Appalachians. New Jersey folks will know this area. The Poconos are up here, but basically these are the eastern foothills of the Appalachian Mountains as they run from southwest to northeast along the eastern seaboard. So there is a fault system there, and that's why these earthquakes do happen. So yeah, that's where we stand. Apparently, MTA, Metro Transit Authority in New York, has said that everything is okay. All flights in the 3 area airports, Newark, LaGuardia, and Kennedy, were grounded. I haven't seen if they've been opened up again. People said that the shaking was felt as far away as Boston and Washington, D.C., so that gives you some idea. When you look at that, that's 500 miles pretty much from D.C. to Boston. And again, on the map, you see this Califon area being kind of right in the center. You know, if you look at Boston and Washington, slightly closer to Washington, D.C., not too far from Philadelphia, but New York is the area that seems to have felt it the most, New York and northern New Jersey. The area of northeastern Pennsylvania is not as densely populated, so not such a big problem there. And yeah, as far as the why people felt it so much, a 4.8 is not super huge. It did shake for 35 seconds, according to seismologists from Princeton University, but it's because it occurred on a shallow fault system. And the shallower or closer it is, the more we feel it as humans. And this is from Frederick Simons, a professor of geosciences at Princeton. So that's what's going on. We are probably going to hear a lot more as the day goes on about anything else that might have gone wrong. Some articles that you can look at according to NBC News here, where, you know, initial moments people were probably freaked out and, you know, screaming, "I don't want to die." Coffee shop or Delta Airlines had to divert some flights. The museum saying no damage. And basically FEMA just chiming in saying, yes, we know there are fault lines, there are going to be earthquakes. In general, you're probably not going to feel them. In general, they're not going to be above 5 because they don't really know of one that's been over 5. And, you know, when you get up to 6 or 7, then you're talking about some serious shaking and damage and potential for harm and injury and loss of life. There are some other articles around here saying that if you do look around New York, you will find that there are boroughs, particularly Brooklyn and parts of Queens and the Bronx, that much of the building is done in brick, and they probably are not earthquake retrofitted. It doesn't seem like it's a thing that's really done in New York because of the rarity of such an event. So again, check back often. I'm sure this will be outlining all the evening news. It happened just a few hours ago. Again, Califon, New Jersey, about 40 miles west of Manhattan. An earthquake of 4.8 magnitude, about 3 miles deep, significant shaking and rattling. No reported loss of life, a couple of minor injuries, no disruption to any of the subway systems in New York, and still checking to see about whether or not the airports have opened up again. And that's where we're at. So have a good day and check your news, your local news this evening, and we'll see you again next time. Bye now.